On the Tina Ramsey Show and Podcast, we have our special featured guest, Michael Nims. Yes, he is the CEO of Keep Trucking Transportation. And if you want to learn how to buy, sell, and dispatch in the trucking transportation industry, then make sure you tune in this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. EST. It's time for you to come share, shine, and grow on the Tina Ramsey Show. Welcome to the Tina Ramsey Show and Podcast, a show to motivate you and introduce you to celebrities, authors, singers, coaches, and standout entrepreneurs that are making a positive impact in the world. Men and women coming together to share knowledge, having upbuilding conversations centered around business, wellness, education, and life. We connect you with some amazing people and opportunities. It's your time to shine, and we help you do that. We love sharing your stories of success and spotlighting you, the entrepreneur. We love to laugh. We love to smile. We love to celebrate you, and we love having fun. So go grab a seat, get a snack, and don't forget your beverage. It's time for you to come share, shine, and grow. Yes, it's time for the Tina Ramsey Show. Let's get started with your host, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I am so excited to be with you because we have the amazing Michael Nims. And for all of you who have been writing in ever since you saw that we had advertised about him coming on the show, you want to know about how you can buy, sell a truck, to get into the transportation industry. The cool thing is he knows all about that and so much more. So what I want to do today is to let you know that the Tina Ramsey Show and Podcast is now streaming on CTR Media Network, which is a podcasting and marketing network reaching 350 million global listeners. And we are in 47 countries. So Michael Nims, also known as Maddie Daddy Time on IG. He has, over the years as entrepreneur, 6 thriving businesses. He's also an HBCU graduate. But get this, you guys. This man not only attended, but graduated from Howard University in psychology and administration of justice. Let me tell you something. This is so impressive. Like, how did he go from there to here in the trucking industry? I just have to bring him on. I just need to know. Oh, I see the audience coming in. Welcome to the show, Michael. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing amazingly well since you are here because, listen, you are a busy man, and I am so excited that you are here so that you can share some knowledge in regards to the transportation industry and everything that you're doing. But before we get started, I need to know, how do you go from graduating from an HBCU, Howard University, in psychology and administrative justice to buy, sell, and dispatching in transportation? How did you go from there?
Long story, long journey. I started off owning a medical firm and a collection firm. So I did that for about 10 years. So I've been an entrepreneur for about 12 years now, close to 12 years. And one day, I had this idea brought to me by a friend that said, hey, since you've had some pretty decent, successful businesses, would you like to tap into the trucking industry? And at first, I was like, I don't really know much about it, but I was a little curious. So I did my homework. Back then, you didn't have a lot of people that was in trucking on podcasts or doing lives or having classes. So you kind of had to just learn it as you go, right? So I just took some of the things that I knew about how to properly handle a business from my previous businesses, and I just implemented that into the world of trucking.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so the opportunity presented itself to you, and so that's how you ended up going into the transportation industry, because you already had some successful businesses already. So you took that knowledge, right, and you built it in. I love that. Okay, because many times we get degrees or we get this education and it's not transferable. It's only for what you went to school for, but you was able to, because I can see how psychology can be very beneficial in the trucking industry.
Oh, how people think. You definitely got to know how your drivers think. And it's funny because a lot of times you can tell when it's time to either replace a driver or put them in another position, right? So I think the psychology behind it all is actually, it helped me out a lot. But once I graduated from Howard, I was supposed to go back for law school, and I was like, man, you know what? I want to do something a little different. Like I really want to find a way where I can have more of my time back. And I thought that it would be easier if I just was to start opening businesses and seeing how, what my niche would be. And that was the exact opposite because I realized I traded 40 hours a week for about 80 hours a week, right? And then at some point I realized that the only way to scale was to make sure that I increase my staff, right? So obviously the more staff you have, the easier it is for you to scale because it gives you more time to sit and think. Pay people to do certain tasks, and you can develop, another way to produce streams of income. So that's pretty much what I've been doing in the trucking industry is learning how to scale by increasing my team, right? Putting people in position, and after they work with you for about a year or two, then put them in a different position, right? And then replace them with someone else. And so that's how it became a little easier for us to scale as a team, as one big company.
Well, you know what? I heard the word team consistently repeated. So, you guys, he dropping these gems. If you really want to scale up your business, you have to go from solo. You have to stop being solo. It's only so far you can go by yourself. Okay.
Right. Only 40, only, pretty much a 40-hour work week, 24 hours in a day. But you have to learn how to put people in the right position. You have to know their strengths and their weaknesses. You have to try to build on their weaknesses and promote their strengths, right? So, as you continue to do that, your team grows from 2 people to 5 people to 10 people. And every time someone masters that craft, you elevate them to another level. You put somebody else in their place. And before you know it, you have 3, 4 assistants or admins, and then you have a multiple team of dispatchers. I think another thing that's important when you're trying to scale, you have to see where people want to be, and you have to do everything in your power as an owner, again, to figure out how you can put them in that position. And that's how everybody on the team begins to scale, begins to grow, right? The goal is to make sure that everybody becomes their own boss, sort of say, or have their own freedom to have their time back. So your job as an owner is to understand those strengths, those weaknesses, and play on them, right? And have healthy promotion within your team. No egos. We just had a meeting right before I got on this podcast. We had a Zoom meeting, and it was everybody that was dispatchers, as well as admins. And I actually spoke last. I wanted everybody to kind of give their input and know that, like, there's no, like, it's a reason why we have round tables, right? Instead of a square. We want everybody to sit at the head of the table because there's no egos, and it just gives everybody a chance to feel like that they are as important as the next. So that's a big gem drop because that's how you scale. You have to keep the entire team happy. One thing that I brag about, and I don't brag much, but what I brag about is that everyone on the team is their own boss. Every dispatcher on the team owns their own trucking company. Some own trucks. Some has learned how to rent trailers. So it's important that you create bosses amongst your staff, amongst your team.
All right. So you just dropped so many different gems. I have never really heard anyone break it down so simply of how you actually scale up and how you delegate. We know that we need to have people in their relative positions, but you just gave the art of delegation, putting them in places where they're good. Once they master that, you level them up. A lot of times people go into positions and they stay there.
Right.
And they stay there. So I see your secret sauce is that once they get there, they prove themselves, they're doing good. You don't hold them back. You want them to keep growing into whatever relative position that they grow to. And I love the fact that you mentioned, I never even thought about this, the round table. There's no one at the head of the table when you sit at a round table versus sitting at a rectangle or square table. So that that. So you guys, I know that he is dropping all these gems on you. I mean, we just barely 10 minutes in to the show and he just dropped all kind of, you need to go ahead and get a notebook, and some paper, because this is definitely something you want to watch and listen to again. But what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a commercial break and we're going to be right back and we're going to talk a little bit more about this delegation, about his journey. And if you have any questions, you can type them in and we'll be back in a moment after this commercial break with the amazing Michael Nims. See you in a moment.
If you are a business owner or entrepreneur and you're looking for a way to share your mission, your purpose, your products and services literally with the world faster, safer, and easier, making your brand accessible to millions from the comfort of your home, I want to encourage you to join our CTR Media Network's Learn How to Start a Podcast and Monetize It class. Why? This class was designed for entrepreneurs like yourself as a resource to provide 3 keys. Key 1, provide you with the knowledge to start a podcast. Key 2, provide you with the knowledge to successfully launch your podcast. Key 3, provide you with the knowledge to understand how you can monetize your podcast, creating multiple streams of income. We want you to impact the world with good, while you build multiple streams of income and opportunities for yourself. The world is never too saturated for you and your message. Utilize podcasting as a tool to help you impact the world with good. Go to www.ctrmedianetwork.com and join our class today.
Hello there. My name is Tiffany Bell. I'm with Nonprofit CEO. Tina Ramsey had me on as a guest a couple of times this year with her show, and as a result, I have been able to recruit authors for book projects that I've been involved with, as well as speakers for my upcoming event in September. Tina is a certified VCM. She's all about helping individuals with their visibility, with their connections, and with their monetization. So that basically means she's going to help you get in front of the right people so that you can promote your service or promote your product. So again, if you've not had the opportunity to connect with Tina, she's really great at what she does. Again, my name is Tiffany Bell. I'm with Nonprofit CEO, and you are watching and listening to The Tina Ramsey Show. Thank you.
And just like that, we are back, and I'm so excited to bring back the amazing Michael Nims. All right, so before the commercial break, we were actually talking about scaling up, how you do it, how you delegate. All of the people on your team are bosses in themselves, so there's no reason why that you guys are totally bossing up, because all of you are CEOs of your own thing. So that, I mean, I'm learning some things today, okay? Like this is some great information. So thinking about all that, I see what you do, and you are the CEO of Keep Trucking Transportation, but you're also the CEO of Legal Meditation Group, LLC, and Madison Moments. So tell us a little bit about that side, the Legal Meditation and Madison Moments.
So Madison Moments is an organization that we founded to pretty much give back, right? So we're like really big in charitable work, and that's my daughter's name, Madison, of course. Hence IG. You can find me at Maddie Daddy Time. I think it's important that, you know, obviously Black men spend time with their children, especially their daughters, and just showing them a different way of life. So like, we grew up really poor, right? And when I say poor, I don't mean like there was a lot of love in the household, but we just financially weren't stable. And so I remember some Christmases where we would go and get toys from the center, and I thought it was just because it was something to do. But as I got older, I realized that those were the only toys that we actually received on Christmas, right? And Madison didn't grow up that way, okay? She didn't grow up in that type of environment. So it was important that we could show her a different side of life. Like you know, you shouldn't take for granted certain things, that we have a car. And so Madison says, it's about a couple years ago, she said, well, Dad, if you didn't have a car, how did you get around? And I said, we walked, right? So I think it's important that we show our kids the other side of how things can be or could be. So Madison Moments is an organization that, you know, we started to just pretty much give back. It started off with bottles of water, and then next thing I knew, it was, you know, 30, 40 people coming out, donating their time. And one of the things that I always took from it was, you had adults that would come, and you know, our role was to go and feed the homeless, but a lot of times we were the ones being fed just by listening to their stories and realizing, you know, how one bad decision that all of us could be, you know, facing that type of lifestyle. So Madison Moments is near and dear to my heart. I founded something in Howard called A Few Good Men. It was pretty similar. We would go and we would speak to the kids in Washington, D.C., in the rougher areas, and I would always ask, like, what did we all have in common? It would be myself and, you know, maybe 10 other of my colleagues in school. And of course, went to HBCU, so all young Black men, and the kids would throw out different things, but it was always something negative. And I would say, no, we all go to Howard University. This is something that, you know, you all should aspire to do or be. Hence, you're a doctor, so you're very familiar with higher levels of education and the importance of it. And so we implement that into trucking as well, as far as the educational piece. Hence why we offer so many classes and training and consultations and mentorship, because it's just important. So that's kind of where Madison Moments came from. Just always staying humble, always staying grounded. You know, I like that we had a chance, you and I, to speak, and I noticed that you're Dr. Ramsey, but yet you have no ego, right? You say, well, just call me coach. And I think it's important in any business, in any industry, to leave the egos at the door and just focus on the task at hand. So anyways, Madison Moments was named after her. It was just important that she had something in her name, something that I can leave for her to continue long after I'm gone. Legal mediation is just it's a company that I started maybe 10 years ago. It helped finance the trucking industry, of course. I was able to purchase some equipment, trucks and trailers. By using my medical office, I actually was able to transition from medical into trucking. So what I did was, instead of being able to hire additional staff for trucking, which I probably couldn't afford anyways, I just trained my medical staff into learning how to dispatch. So you would do 4 hours doing medical, 4 hours learning how to dispatch, and then I was able to smoothly transition the staff to full-time trucking, and that's how we was able to purchase all the box trucks that we had in the beginning, and then transition to semi. So you know, just using those resources, you know, using the computers that we had and the desktops and all the software, we were able to transition that company to focus more on the trucking side.
Wow. I mean, I can like see your mind moving. Like I could just see it going like doo, 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 doo. I'm like, the way your mind works is really a gift, because everybody's mind cannot departmentalize and place people in the right position that not only teaches them but empowers them and then elevates them at the same time. I mean, many people get put in position, but they're just there. And this is the first time in any interview I'm hearing this process explained in this way. This is genius. You need to copyright what you're doing, because this is an amazing process. You know, we pay for processes, you know, and having blueprints. That's a blueprint. That is a blueprint. And I love the way that you do it. And then you're tying your daughter in, which is amazing, because like we were speaking before the show, representation is so important for all children, but especially within our communities where we don't always have a father figure in the home. So to see that and the love, and also you see the importance of teaching your daughter that, hey, everybody don't have this. I didn't have this growing up, but I want you to appreciate what you have, but also understand that it could not be this way. So it's still in them at a young age, make them appreciative, and then they go out and help more people. But with all that being said, Michael, what would you say for individuals who want to come into trucking? What would be the number one tool that you would say that they need to get started? What would you think that would be, like mentorship, or what do you think they need to do first?
Well, I'm big on education. And again, you know, when I started 8 years ago, we didn't have the resources that's available now. Consultations, mentorship is what we provide, definitely. So I'm always pushing consultation first. So for example, I had a guy, he's really big in real estate, and he was trying to make the transition into the trucking industry, but he just didn't know how. And so after a 30-minute consultation, I says, well, you're well versed in real estate. You know how to buy property low, and you know how to rent them out, right? I was like, but there's some hurdles that you have to make sure that you can overcome, as far as collecting your rent on time from your renter. If there's a plumbing leak, if there's a roof leak, you have to commit yourself to those repairs by a certain amount of time. I says, well, instead of you buying a fleet of trucks, why don't you buy a fleet of trailers? Since you're already well versed in the real estate game, I can show you how to buy trailers, and I can show you which trailers are more profitable so that you can rent them out. Took it a step further, and I provided him with contracts to give to the carriers that he was then going to lease those trailers to, rent those trailers out to. So, for example, Dale, he says, listen, that sounds good. He bought 3 trailers. He's profiting $4,200 a month. The investment wasn't that much. Everybody don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into this trucking industry. So we try to find less expensive ways, in ways that you can get that return on your investment a little bit faster, a little bit easier. So, for example, with trailers, the carrier, which is the person you're going to rent them to, they're going to take on the responsibility of paying that insurance monthly. They're going to take on the responsibility of keeping it repaired. There's certain things in contracts that protects us. So he was able to successfully get those 3 trailers. He's knocking on my door to get another 3. So there's always ways and different streams that you can attach your to, different streams of revenue that you can attach yourself to in trucking without having to purchase a fleet of trailers. If you want to get your CDL, work for a larger company, and then become your own owner-operator, which is to purchase the equipment and run your own equipment under your own motor carrier number, authority, or your DOT. That's a way. If you want to do like what we do, is we allow people who are investors who may not have the experience in the trucking industry or may not have gained that knowledge that you need to be successful in this industry. You can then attach yourself to a company like ours, and you can run under our company, which is called Leasing and then we can make sure that you're profitable that way. We'll actually run your company for you, kind of like a franchise, right, so to speak. And then we're responsible for making sure that your loads are booked, your drivers are onboarded. That's for people who have the capital but just don't have the time to commit to the trucking industry, or have the capital, have the time, but just don't know exactly how to invest properly. You can lease them with a company like ours, and we will show you the way.
Wow. You just put out so many just gems. I don't even know where I want to hit on first. Okay. Because you say it so nonchalant, like you say it like boom, 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 and I'm like, this is like golden. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it back just a little bit for all of our viewers and ones who are listening in right now. I don't think they understood what you just said. Okay, so many of you are calling in, emailing, wanting to know how you can get into the trucking industry, transportation. And in your mind, just like how it used to be in my mind, the only way to do that would be to drive a truck. Right. However, Michael Nims, better known on IG as Maddie Daddy Time, he just spilled some gems. You can be in the trucking industry, transportation industry, without even having to drive a truck. And it can still be lucrative for you. And if you don't want to physically manage your business yourself and you have the capital, he has a business that can do it for you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Now, I think it's important that even when you lease yourself on to another company, that you are receiving the proper mentorship, right? My brother, Nelms, Dr. Nelms, he always say that you can't miss what you can't measure. And so by being extremely transparent, we make sure that we mentor you along the way so that you can properly know what's going on with your equipment, how to properly onboard your driver, what does factoring companies look like. So it's important that you're actually receiving that mentorship while someone is pretty much running your company for you, right? And at some point you may want to say, you know what, Mike, I think I got it now, and we'll still provide the mentorship, and you can get your own DOT, and you can run your company yourself, if you have that time now available for you. So it's a lot of different ways. You can also dispatch. There's a lot of money in dispatching. You can grow a fleet that way, by dispatching, starting off by dispatching, and then opening up your own DOT, and you can do the same thing. You can learn how to lease people on as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get into the trucking industry. Fortunately for us, we've done it all. We've been able to tap into every way that I just explained. One thing about us, we're not going to teach it unless we actually did it. We've had to have done it ourselves and taken those lumps and losses and learn from our own mistakes before we were comfortable enough to actually present it to everyone else. So you're definitely in good hands. Make sure you guys are hitting that at Matt Daddy Time, Matty Daddy Time. DM me if you have any further questions, even after this podcast.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So we do have someone in the studio audience now. This may be something that you need to book a consultation for, Miss Katrina, but because he can't answer all the questions, but she asked the question, what is best if you don't have the collateral or the experience? So I guess, where should she start? I know that she personally has a child that wants to get into the transportation industry. She comes from the she trucking community. So do you have any suggestions, or do you think that she need to set up a consultation with you to go a little deeper?
First of all, shout out to She Trucking. She's doing an amazing job in this industry.
Yeah.
It's definitely a blessing to be around. So definitely, if you don't know who she is, Google her. She's an amazing source of information and resources. So we need people like that in this industry who are just honest and transparent and lead with a pure heart. And I definitely look up to her as someone who has guided me through this industry. So I think a lot of ways that you can get into it. That's not as expensive. I like dispatching. I do. I think dispatching it's important to know how to dispatch. And I always tell people dispatching is the one part in trucking where you're going to teach, you're going to reach a lot of different people in the industry. So dispatchers are pretty much the only ones that's going to deal with the driver. They're going to deal with the owner, or if it's an owner operator, they're going to deal with brokers. So factoring companies, depending on how detailed your dispatching service is, dispatching sometimes deals with direct shippers. I love dispatching because insurance companies, it teaches you how to understand what a COI is. It's a lot of information that the dispatcher learns, and I think it's a great way to get into trucking. It's inexpensive. I've seen classes from $100 to $2,500. Dispatching is a great way to get into trucking. Another thing about dispatching that I love for single parents, for stay-at-home parents, mom and dads, because I'm one, and that's how I started with dispatching. Actually, that's how I was able to grow my fleet. It's important that you understand that with dispatching, you can do it on your cell phone. You can do it on the beach, you can do it on the plane, you can do dispatching anywhere. So and it's not expensive as long as you have a cell phone. It used to be a laptop, now you can do it from your phone, right? And you're organized, and you get a good training coach in dispatching, and you can definitely do it from home, and it's inexpensive. So I think if you don't have the capital, then it makes sense to start off with dispatch. Even if you have the capital, I think it's important that you take a dispatch training class because it will teach you all the nuances in trucking. I say it all the time, the devil's in the details. And depending on the type of class that you take, hopefully they're teaching you these details that are extremely important in increasing your revenue on these loads.
That was powerful. So, Katrina, I still think that you need to go ahead and book a consultation with Maddie Daddy Time to make sure, because he can definitely lead you in the right way, because, some things, a conversation need to be had. So that was a great answer, but I know that she's just a little bit more detailed. So you need to just book the consultation, okay? And just book the consultation with him, and then he can get your child on their way in the best position. She asked, "Do you have a dispatching class?"
I do. I have a dispatching class. We usually do it once a month. We're probably going to do one in-person class. Usually it's by way of Zoom. But I think by the end of this month, the beginning of next month, we're going to do a live dispatching class. I got some really amazing teachers, but I actually get in that class and I teach a portion of it myself. It's really a good class. And then the way we do our dispatch class is not really like like a normal dispatch training class. You're going to learn how to dispatch, but you're also going to learn how to buy and rent trailers. You're going to learn what federal filings that you need to do before you can actually put that truck on the road. And you can actually learn federal filings to the point where you can charge people to do them for them. So to do it for you. So for example, we do it. We've learned the federal filings aspect of it, and we actually can do it for other people and charge them. So there's a lot of different ways you can learn how to hire an onboard driver. There's a lot of people who are looking for drivers. You can learn how to properly hire drivers, and you can get paid to do that as well. So there's a lot of different things that we teach within our dispatch class. I think it's important that you take a step and you go a little bit further in these dispatch training classes, because you never know who's going to want to tap into something else just by taking that class. So it's important that, that you start off by getting in the class. Even before you purchase your equipment and you have no desire to dispatch, you still need to take a class.
I 100% agree, because it's like you said before, it starts with education and mentorship, because no one knows everything. And it's certain things that you can avoid if you have proper mentorship and education, and avoid a lot of the pitfalls and wasting time and money. So she said, thank you. So she'll probably be content. She's very good on getting things done. So you'll probably be seeing her somewhere on IG saying, wait the class.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a commercial break. And after that, we're going to be back with the amazing Michael Nims, also known on IG as Maddie Daddy Time. So stay tuned. Make sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome to the Homeschooling Magazine, a magazine that embraces and celebrates the entire homeschooling experience. Our magazine is different from all the rest because we provide beneficial information and assistance in homeschooling, business, wellness, mental health, resources, and life. We encourage you to pick up a copy of our magazine today by going to issues.com for digital and printed form on amazon.com. The Homeschooling Magazine is all about impacting the world through home-based learning, helping to de-stress the homeschooling experience. Get your copy today. Three Rivers Trucking School presents the Re-Up Atlanta, taking place Sunday, September the 25th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., where you will learn how to start a trucking company, how to start a trucking school, intermodal and port activity, dispatch and logistics, box truck contracts with Amazon, and so much more. With your host, I am Larry Coughlin. With the keynote speaker, Boss Man Brewster. First female of freight, Cody OTR. Only Ryan knows best. Maddie Daddy Time. Ashley Keep Trucking. Box Truck Shouty. Pick up your tickets today. And if you want to learn how to drive a truck, then join Three Rivers Truck Driving School CDL class now. Sign up by simply calling the number 1-800-315-7022. Again, that number is 1-800-315-7022. It's time for you to get in the driver's seat at Three Rivers Truck Driving School. See you there. All right, just like that, we are back, and we're bringing back our amazing special feature guest, which is Michael Nims, also known as Maddie Daddy Time. I know you guys saw him in that commercial. He's actually going to be speaking this month at the Three Rivers Re-Up event in Atlanta, Georgia, September the 25th. At 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So make sure to get your tickets today, because they are going to be sharing so much information. We have somebody else in the studio, virtual studio audience. Her name is Carolyn. She said, though I've been dispatching for a while, I think it would benefit me to take a class. I've been mostly self-taught, so she bump her head a lot. She having a hard time. So I think that another person, Carolyn, need to go ahead and get into his class when he has it. So you're gonna have some people all up in that class. You gonna have to go ahead and do that thing early. Let me stop. She asked the question, do you think your class could benefit someone like myself? Well, I can tell.
Absolutely. It's funny that you said self-taught, because this entire industry, I taught myself from learning how to lease from dispatching box trucks to transitioning to semis. So I think it's a great thing that you're self-taught, but at this point, we need to take advantage of the resources available. So this class would be something that I think would be beneficial. We have some tips that we can give you, some tricks that we learned along the way. And so definitely tap in with us, and we'll make sure we take care of you.
All right. They keep coming in. Someone said, some more about those classes. Where will live classes be located?
Well, I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area, so we were thinking about again doing a live class. We stayed away from it just due to COVID and restrictions. So, but I think it's important that we actually get in the classroom and be more hands-on. When that class is put together, which again it should be very shortly after we do some of these events that we have coming up, then I can focus all my attention on that class, which you guys actually, you definitely deserve all my attention. So. That's why I said maybe the first of the month, but it will be right here in downtown Atlanta.
Okay. Carolyn said, thank you. And don't worry, I'll keep you guys. Just let me know, Michael, when your classes is, and I'll post it up. Okay. Just let me know so I can let everybody know and send out a blast with our people who's on our list so they'll know that your class is taking place, because clearly they waiting on you. Okay. And I want them to be able to get it. So as you guys already know, he has been dropping multiple gems. From an entrepreneur standpoint, whether you are in the trucking industry or not, he basically gave us a blueprint, a roadmap to how you successfully scale up and build up your business with a team. Then he turned around and helped us in the easiest way for you to get into the trucking industry without actually having a truck. And he also dropped the gem earlier about he recommends dispatching as a viable way for you to get into the trucking and transportation industry. So, with all that being said, how do you feel about leasing? Is there any benefits to leasing? How you feel about that?
Oh man, that's a good question. Personally, I was fortunate to purchase a lot of my equipment a couple years ago when like stuff was so inexpensive, and I didn't know that it would get to the point where trucks are marked up 30,000, 40,000, sometimes 50,000 since what I was spending for equipment a couple years ago. I think leasing may be a viable option, but fortunately for me, I was able to pretty much just cash out on my equipment because it was so inexpensive then. Now it's a little bit different. And I guess it just depends on what your lease options are. If you're leasing trucks and they're brand new 2022 trucks, then I think that may be a viable option because the parts on a lot of these repairs are insanely increased. There's a lot of equipment. There's a lot of parts that are on back order, so they're hard to get. Water pumps and CPCs. So it may be beneficial for you to lease for you to lease some of this equipment, and depending on the terms, you can keep leasing and keep up with new equipment. So I guess it just kind of depends. It depends on what your finances are consisted of.
All right, so that's good, and you're so right that everything has changed so much, especially within these last 2.5 years. With everything, but especially it's hitting the trucking industry hard because the parts are already pricey, and then now people are marking it up so expensive, so it can be difficult. So I would tell everyone basically to do your own due diligence on what is best for you based upon your budget and realistically what you can afford, because you don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. You don't want to give away your mortgage money, so you want to make sure that you're still able to survive. So make that decision. But also, he has his class coming up as well. The Tina Ramsey Show and CTR Media Network will keep you guys in the loop when that class drops. Dispatching, if you want to get into the trucking industry, like he said, a little bit easier, go ahead and learn dispatching. That is a way that you can get in, and it can be a very lucrative option for you in the trucking industry. But you need the education. If you do not know what you are doing, and you're doing your YouTube University, a YouTube only can take you but so far. Okay, it is some great information. Don't get me wrong. It's some great information out there, but something needs some itemized, customized care.
Right.
And this is one of them, because it can be a very intricate system processes within the trucking industry. So you need to be with somebody who have already done it so they can tell you what to do.
Absolutely.
So, Michael, with all these things that you have already done, which I'm very impressed, psychology, now you have the legal part that's helping, you have your wonderful foundation in your daughter's name, building that wonderful legacy, being a wonderful stand-up father, great representation for our boys, our girls, and just our culture in general. You're helping everybody. You're doing all these things. But what would you say out of all those things that you have been doing, what is your greatest accomplishment in trucking?
Oh man, so greatest accomplishment in trucking, I have two. One, we were able to I always use the phrase "truck and pay" for this, and I think it's a catchy phrase, but it's one that I hold close to my heart. So I think my greatest accomplishment was the fact that we were able to pay my mother's house off. We struggled young, and so everybody wants to buy their mama a house, right? That's like
Yeah.
one of the greatest things you can do, when you feel like you have accomplished something in life. And so we were able to pay her house off. She has no debt, no bills. We bought her a car. So trucking has afforded us the opportunity to do things that that we just never dreamed of, right? When I mean we, I mean like my family as a collective unit. And I think that's important for us to be able to show her, like, Mom, we fought so hard to get here, and now we're able to do things like that, like pay your house off, and so it's a blessing to see her not have to worry about any bills whatsoever. She deserves it. She's one of those amazing parents. Anybody that know her know that she's just a lovely lady. The second thing is I'm so big on education, right? And so anybody that know me knows that, like, I'm constantly preaching, like, educate yourself, go to college, like, take some classes when you can. And so we were able to continue to send my daughter to private school. She's been to private schools, some of the best schools that Georgia has to offer. Woodward Academy it's an amazing program there. It looks like an actual college. And so it just feels good to know that my daughter attends Woodward, and not only just attend Woodward, she is smashing it. So it's
Yes.
it's a good thing, sent her to Paris and London, and so she's understanding, different cultures at 11, right? And so just providing those different opportunities for her that we didn't have growing up, different resources for her right now that we didn't have growing up. She just made it. She got accepted into the honors course, and then the drama club, and so she's really a smart kid. So to be able to keep pushing education at its highest level is what trucking has paid for, right? And so I tell everybody, if you have an opportunity to get into trucking, if it's dispatching, if it's an owner operator, if it's a CDL holder, if you're leasing on other people like we do, if you can give classes, if you can do consultations, trucking at some point would afford you opportunities that you probably would not have ever had, right? And so it's just a blessing to see my daughter go to a school like that, to walk the halls and know that she's amongst some of the most future successful people in this country, right? So trucking has definitely afforded us that opportunity. Hashtag truck and pay for it. And so yeah, that's pretty much our greatest accomplishments. Just being as selfless as possible, and just keeping that ego checked at the door, and just continue to thrive in this industry. I think those are, like, my greatest accomplishments.
Yeah, I love it. And okay, I hear the things that people don't say. Okay, when I'm hearing and I'm listening to you, and then I just see your eyes and your face just light up when you talk about your daughter. It's a different look. Like, you have a look when you're talking about trucking of happy and contentment, but then you have a look when you mentioning your mother and you mention your daughter, that I can see, and it resonates very clearly to me, that they are your accomplishment. Your family is very, very important to Maddie Daddy time, to Michael Nim. So family, I already know the answer. Family, is that very important to you? Because I already know the answer, but I'm just
Yeah. We've been since I was young. Like, we all we got, and we really, my siblings are amazing. I have amazing siblings. We spoke about my one brother. My other brother, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's the reason why I started to think about being a business owner. And my daughter, she's amazing. She has an office at one of the most important buildings in Buffalo, New York, City Hall. She is an amazing, amazing social worker. She does a lot for the kids in our community. My brother's a doctor of education. He's a chief of schools. He does a lot for the kids in his community in Rochester, New York. So I think it's just, it's amazing that we all kind of come together. We just went camping a couple weeks ago. We do family things that a lot of families kind of forgot about, like reunions, right? Sometimes families kind of they lose that cohesiveness as they get older, but we've done the opposite. We actually stay as close and grounded as possible. So it's important that we put our family at the forefront, and that's why when people ask who I am, one of the first things I say is I'm a father first and foremost. Nothing supersedes that. And so it's important that you continue to build, you find your purpose, which is, of course, my child, Madison Nelms. That's my purpose, and that's why I get up early. That's why I'm up late. That's why I grind extra hard, because I understand that I have to leave a legacy. That name has to mean something. When she gets a little older, it should open up opportunities for her just by the importance of that last name. So it's important that I spend my life pushing so that her life is better than what I was able to accomplish.
Love it, love it, love it. Like I said, I already knew the answer, but I didn't know all the details in the center and the middle. And you fill that in. I can see how what really matters to you is family first, and you're dedicated to what you do in the trucking industry, but your focus is making sure your family is together, your family is safe, your family has all the things. And it really, we hear the word legacy thrown around very nonchalant, very easily. But this is what it looks like, everyone, when you are building a legacy. It's not always easy. Anybody that is an entrepreneur know you have these ups, these downs, these, I call them failing forward moments. You may have failed, but once you figure it out, you got it, right? And so I want you to tell the audience about Keep Trucking Transportation and how they can get in contact with you and anything else that you're doing that they could connect with you on.
Awesome. Well, obviously a good way is you can tap in with our webpage, Keep Trucking Transportation. Instagram, a lot of people they reach out by way of Instagram. It's at Maddie Daddy Time. Maybe you can put that on the screen. If not, it's MADDY Time. A lot of people DM us that way. We have another Instagram page, Keep Trucking Transportation. And we got a lot of stuff coming up. We got a lot of podcasts coming up. Again, we're going to be at the re-up on the 25th from 9 to 4. If you're looking to lease on, if you're looking for a consultation, if you're looking for the dispatch training class, you can go to at Maddie Daddy Time, and you can click the link in our bio. We're on all platforms. Again, you can click the link in the bio and tap into our LinkedIn, our Twitter, our YouTube. We have a private Facebook group as well. So there's a lot of different ways to tap in, but most likely people will just hit us at Maddie Daddy Time, and they'll just kind of connect by way of DM, and then we can set up a consultation, and we can figure out what works for you. It could be dispatching, it could be buying trucks and trailers, it could be get your CDL. If you want to lease on to our company and allow us to mentor you while we run your business for you, we can show you how to set up your own MCDLT. It's pretty much any angle that you want to attack in this industry. We can provide it for you.
Well, I want to just thank you for taking the time to come on the show and sharing so many beautiful gems with us, not only in regards to what they can do in the trucking and transportation industry, but also in just overall entrepreneurship. Because what I have found that a man has started with an HBCU at Howard University in psychology and justice, and then administrative justice, and then moved on and took those skills and transferred them into an industry that we would have never thought that you would go into. And then not only do that, but set up multiple businesses and streams of income. And then you take it a step further. Once you figured it out, now you're scaling up and teaching other people how they can do the same thing, or direct them in the right path of what their skill set, what their genius zone. I like to say genius zone. You find their genius zone, and then you put them there, and then you help them build themselves up. I absolutely love what you do. And then you always circle back around and give back to the community.
Right.
I don't have anything else to say in regards to that. I love me some Maddie Daddy time. Tell your daughter that I said hello. And thank you for everything that you're doing. You guys, make sure to check him out. Follow him on IG. It's up under Maddie Daddy Time, like he said before. And make sure that you go to his website and check him out as well with keeptruckingtransportation.com. Make sure to check him out at the Re-Up Atlanta, taking place September the 25th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. He is going to be one of the featured speakers sharing with all of you. He also has experience with box trucks as well. So if you want to learn more about all of this stuff, and you need to be at the Re-Up, point blank. Three Rivers Trucking School is actually the ones who are, they're doing it. And so we're going to keep you in the loop when Michael going to drop that class so that all of you can get into this dispatching. Because as you can see, Michael, they ready. They are ready. So thank you so much for coming on again. And also, I just want to give you one more time in case there's anything else that you may have not said that you would like to say right now, so that they can get in contact with you.
Definitely. Follow me at Maddie Daddy Time. We're doing a 30-day live challenge. So for 30 days, I think I'm on day 3 now. I'm going to make sure I go live every day at some point. Just make sure you keep tapping in. And just so we can continue to, have this healthy dialogue, this healthy conversation. It's going to be a Q&A every day. So whatever question you have, feel free, tap in, shoot those questions. We'll make sure we answer them for you.
You guys, this has been another amazing episode of the Tina Ramsey Show, which is now streaming on CTR Media Network, which is reaching 350 million homes or global listeners worldwide in 47 countries. You caught it here with Maddie Daddy Time on IG, which is the amazing Michael Nims, and everything that he does with his Madison Foundation and dispatching and trucking, helping you see things through a different lens of this transportation trucking industry. You don't have to always have a truck to be in the trucking industry. And if you want to know how to do it, you have to go to Michael Nims. So go ahead and book those consultations today. Get on his list, because this man is busy. He's always speaking somewhere, okay? So you need to get on his list. So thank you again, and you're welcome to come back to the show anytime you want. We enjoyed having you on today. So talk to you later.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right.
CTR Media Network was created for today's podcasters. We provide a safe haven for content creators that are everyday people doing